Famous people will say just about anything these days. Who knew that Kim Kardashian has admitted to manipulating public data for money?
I feel really blessed because I genuinely love the process of manipulating people online for money.
Or that Mark Zuckerberg has copped to abusing the private information of Facebook users.
Imagine this for a second. One man with total control of billions of people's stolen data, all their secrets, their lives, their futures.
Convinced? Don't be. Those are deep fakes, videos produced through the use of artificial intelligence, melding images and sound, appearing so real it's difficult to tell that they're fake. The vast majority of deep fakes currently online focus on celebrities, lots of fake porn, putting one head on someone else's body because that's where the money is. But the bigger concern is this. Deep fakes could be used to spread misinformation, mess with politics, manipulate electorates by fooling journalists and voters alike. Seeing used to be believing, but the day is coming where the veracity of video could be completely up for debate. And if you think that Facebook and Google et al. Struggle to deal with fake news now, does anyone really believe they're equipped or even inclined to handle deepfakes? The Listening Post's Tarek Nafa now on a future where we won't be able to trust our own eyes.
December 2018, Gabon. President Ali Bongo has all but disappeared from the public sphere, and people are growing restless. There are whispers that he is incapacitated, maybe even dead. The president's spin doctors need to silence the rumor mill. They promise he will address the country in a New Year's speech.
Gabonaise, Gabonais, si votre bien-être m'importe, notre vivre ensemble me préoccupe tout autant.
But something about the video doesn't add up. Bongo's eyes barely move or blink. He stares off camera. His body and hands seem rigid and natural. The public is not convinced. The video looks fake, begging the question, what if seeing isn't believing? What if seeing is deceiving?
Off the back of this, there was an attempted military coup. This video actually was used to some people as almost like vindication for their suspicions, saying, no, we were right, see, because this is definitely fake. This is a deep fake.
Je continuerai à mettre toute mon énergie et toutes mes forces.
So you can see how deepfakes could be very, very easily used in political controversies and things like this.
Deepfake face graphs, body transfers, or voice imitations can be used to make people appear to say things they never said and do things they never did.
You ever wonder why I'm so popular? Because of my big brain? Maybe.
Realistic fakes can be used by just about anyone with an agenda or an axe to grind to conceivably help rig an election, destabilize markets, or start a war. For now, the target is mostly women. A staggering 96% of deepfakes are non-consensual pornography, produced by misogynist hobbyists in the shadier margins of the internet. They've become big moneymakers.
It's women's bodies, identities, and rights that are being transgressed and oppressed basically by quite a small but quite a prolific body of actors that are basically taking famous celebrity, female actors' faces, and basically transplanting those into pornography scenes. And there are huge websites that profit millions of dollars from displaying and sharing and streaming these kind of deepfake pieces of pornography.
This is primarily targeting Western celebrities, although our research found a third of targets were not from Western countries. And even more surprisingly, perhaps, a quarter were of South Korean K-pop stars. And there are also a number of websites springing up which are dedicated to creating deepfake pornography that run things like polls, who do you want us to create a deepfake pornographic video of next, all with advertising, which shows that this isn't just kind of some sort of hobby anymore. This is a potentially lucrative business.
Fake content exists on a spectrum. Shallow fakes or cheap fakes are far more crude. They typically rely on deceptive editing, slowing down or speeding up video, maybe a bit of green screen fakery. If you've used a filter on Snapchat or TikTok, you've produced something on the deepfake spectrum. They're freely available to any clown with a phone.
We can think of the Jim Acosta video from last fall, so November 2018, in which the footage was changed as it sort of morphed across social media. The frame dropping within those videos made it look like, you know, these actions were much more forceful than they actually were in real life. And then we have the Nancy Pelosi video from last summer as an example of slowing down existing video to make it look like she was, you know, speaking very slowly to the point of slowing her words and, you know, appearing drunk.
So it's really sad. And here's the thing, and I told this to the room.
Even a cheap fake can make headlines and have a political impact. And in this new era of democratized access to video synthesis, deepfakes aren't all that hard to produce. So what happens when those with technical know-how get in on the act? Digital artist Bill Posters has done exactly that, harvesting the biometric data of British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and leader of the opposition Jeremy Corbyn, creating synthesized video of both men endorsing each other for Prime Minister.
And back Boris Johnson to continue as our Prime Minister.
It's a statement on some of the most pressing issues of our time. Data, our right to privacy, and as British voters went to the polls, the integrity of the democratic process.
My friends, I wish to rise above this divide and endorse my worthy opponent, the Right Honourable Jeremy Corbyn, to be Prime Minister of our United Kingdom.
What are the elements of the video that you'd be looking for as kind of telltale signs, or that would alert you to the fact that it's not real?
That's one of the real kind of like key reasons why I'm creating this type of artistic content. It's media literacy, essentially, right? It's to raise awareness to these powerful new technologies and techniques of image manipulation and understand the type of content that we're viewing. So what I'd be looking for is, for a traditional deepfake, is the whole facial region, okay? Quite often when the new face model is applied, it's always done with a mask, and you may see some slight colorations around the edges of the frame of the face in particular. You know, we're looking for slight differences in skin tone, things like that. We're also looking about the facial proportions. Is there some kind of element of the facial proportions that just seems offset or unnatural? But it's increasingly difficult to notice and to spot and interpret this type of content.
Tackling those risks is considerably more difficult because of how videos proliferate across closed messaging apps like WhatsApp, without any scrutiny or moderation. And it's not just deepfake disinformation delivered to our phones. What of state actors, bad ones, specialists in manipulative propaganda and foul play? What if it were possible to hack into satellite imagery and synthetically create a missile silo where one does not exist, or concoct troop movements where they do not exist? And what happens if video evidence upon which criminals are prosecuted and juries are swayed becomes inadmissible in court? If moving images become so discredited, they become unusable.
It's important to remember that, you know, deepfakes are simply a new technological capacity to generate different types of misinformation. And they really highlight the fact that within our current information and communication environment, there is no one who is able to effectively rein in misinformation.
What we're seeing now are huge transnational global architectures, this whole kind of digital influence industry that's emerged over the last 10, 12 years or so that allow the transmission of information instantaneously to audiences. The threat really is more insidious with regards to the surveillance architectures that some scholars today are calling the infrastructures of surveillance capitalism.
We're living in an increasingly synthetic world. Whether that's the smartphone camera that you have, which does computational photography, whether that's Siri's voice on your phone, or perhaps even Google Duplex, their new voice assistant, which is meant to sound indistinguishable from a real person. Not all of these are bad, and we need to have nuance to the discussion around deepfakes and synthetic media in general, to make sure that we're not kind of demonizing all uses of this technology, but it is also very important by people creating those forms of technology to make sure that they are not open to abuse.
Seeing has never really been believing. We all have blind spots in our perception. The brain constantly chooses the most likely interpretation of what we see. Deepfakes muddy the waters even further. Their existence is enough to make us doubt what we see. For as much as they make the fake appear real, so too can the real be dismissed as fake.